What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? T to the M to the IDD. I am back with another video, and this video is actually going to be a little bit special. So yes, you see it. Photo Me Ike and myself are collaborating on our first ever photo walk. And where else would it be other than Miami? Okay, now December 7th, if you want to learn about off-camera flash, if you want to learn about natural light, if you want to learn about photography in general, make sure you check the link in the description and get your early bird ticket now. More information, the models, everything is there. And so, going in line with the photo walk, I thought that we would bring just a little bit of the knowledge that you can gain from attending this photo walk, as well as networking in general and building your portfolio. So today I wanted to talk about some things that you need to know about off-camera flash. And since we have our special guest here to help me, I will let them lead it off. So, Photo Me Ike, take it away.
What's up, folks? Photo Me Ike back at it again, and my tip regarding off-camera flash is going to have to do with more so how much money you spend or the brand you decide, right? Now, above all, just remember this above all, buy the best you can afford. My advice when it comes to buying gear in general is buy the best thing that you can afford. Of course, do your research, right? Now, throughout my career, I've used many different types of flashes, many different brands at many different price points. And the one thing that I can tell you that is true is light, right? So whether you spend $400 for a light or $2,400 for a light, if you know what you're doing, the results are going to be comparable, right? For example, I have different flash brands behind me, ranging from the cheapest that I currently own to the most expensive, right? And the one thing that I can tell you is that, like, if you give me a light and a model and a subject, I'm gonna make it do what it do, and you're not gonna be able to tell the results. As a matter of fact, I was doing a shoot with the newer, right, which retails for about 430 bucks, and the battery ran dead. So I switched from the newer to the Pro Photo, which that retails for about 2,400 bucks. And if you look at the two images, you'd be hard pressed to tell the difference, or it'd be hard for you to figure out which light I use for which one, right? Unless I, of course, tell you if you saw a live stream. And basically, what I'm saying is that do your research when you are going to buy a particular flash or brand, and don't cheap out, right? So when I say buy the best you can afford, right? So for example, the Westcott right here is about 600 bucks. The newer is about $400. In my opinion, if you say you had $800 to spend, you could probably buy two newers or one Westcott. Me personally, I'm gonna buy the one Westcott, right, and have $200 left over, as opposed to buying two newers. But that's just who I am as a person. I like to buy once, cry once, right, whatever that term is. But some of you with more with lower budgets might see the value in buying two newers, right, for 800 bucks, as opposed to one Westcott for 600. And that's totally fine. Do what works for you. I'm just saying that when you are buying a flash or a brand, just consider all of the options. Another thing to consider is maybe buying a brand that you can grow with. For example, all three of these brands make speed lights and they make strobe lights, right? Whereas, for example, some brands only make strobe lights or monolights, and some brands only make speed lights, right? So if I buy a Nikon camera and I buy a Nikon flash, if I want to do studio work, I have to buy a different brand of flash. But for example, my Pro Photo right here behind me is one of my favorite flashes, and reason being because I can use the Pro Photo speed light, right, for portrait work, for wedding work, for event work. But then if I want to also use off-camera flash, I can use that same Pro Photo flash to trigger the Pro Photo's strobe lights, off camera or whatever. You know what I mean, basically what I'm saying. And a lot of brands can do that. Westcott has the different levels of flashes. They have a 400, a 200, and they make speed lights. Newer, I believe, does the same thing with the Q4, the Q3, and the newer Speedlight Pro Photo has. Godox has all kinds of lights, from small little speed lights to big 1200 watt like strobe lights. So, you can't go wrong with any of the brands, but just, like I said, do your research and consider and think about what features matter to you and what might be important for as far as like what you want to spend money on, right? Anyways, I don't want to get too long-winded, but that's my advice, right? Do your research, buy the best light you can afford, but at the same time, with so many different brands out there, you really can't go wrong. So don't let it keep you up at night. Make a decision, buy once, cry once, and rock out.
Okay, PhotoMeIke provided some great insight when it comes to off-camera flash lighting, and I totally agree. No matter what type of light that you use, you can get the job done, as I've done some with various brands as well. And so I want to talk and give some tips. We say 5 things you need to know about off-camera flash, but I know it's probably more gems kind of nestled in this video. And so I'm just going to give you a lineup of things that I use and some of the tips that can help you all. Okay. One of the biggest questions that I get is, what flash do you absolutely love using? And I will have to tell you, if I had to pick one flash to use for the rest of my career, it's going to be this right here, the Godox AD200 Pro. Okay, now this is the OG. I bought this in 2020, and guess what? Realistically, I don't need any other flash. I have not needed one since 2020. It's 2025. So what does that tell you? That this is the GOAT for me. It is portable, it is lightweight, it fits in my bag, it gets the job done. Also, when it comes to the spread of light, we already have the perfect modifier on my light. Now, if I want the hard light, I go with this. If I want soft light, I add a modifier. But if I had to choose, absolutely the AD200 would be my go-to. And it does cost a little bit, but for those of you who may be thinking, oh, I need a flash, I need this, I need that, if you buy this, you won't need another one. Okay, so AD200. The next thing that I want to talk about is the reason why I'm able to use the AD200. Okay, and that is this right here. A lot of people don't use the VNDs or NDs. You have them in 2 different variations. You can put them as a clip-in on your sensor, or you have one that you can put on your lens. Okay, and that is what I like to use for photography. This is a variable ND, 3 to 7 stops, which is the perfect range for any type of situation. In the brightest day, it absolutely works. 7 stops, I've never had to use 7 stops. Even in the brightest day, I only had to use about 6. And so what this does is it keeps you out of high speed sinks, which allows you to get more battery life out of your flash, but also more power out of your flash without the power loss. And so with this and my AD200, absolute go. Now that is one tip, the VND. The second tip with this is also using CPLs. Okay, that is a circular polarizer, and what I like about that is a few different things. You have the minimization of reflections, which is absolutely cool, but this can decrease the intensity on the light. So what do I mean by that? Recently, I had a shoot in Brooklyn, New York, and everything was exposed right, but the street was too bright to my liking. And so with this CPL, I was able to cut that and make it look more pleasing to my eye and what I like. Okay, so multiple uses for this, bringing color into your image, but it's multiple uses, and this is one of the things that would definitely be on a must-have for me. Now, the next light. This is actually the first official flash that I bought, the AD200, okay? But this is the AD200 Pro Mark II, all right? And the reason I'm gonna go with this one over the original is because they did a great refinement with this flash, and that's with this modeling lamp, okay? So if you have a modeling lamp, when you're using off-camera flash, depending on the situation, if it starts to get low light, this could be absolutely a great addition for your photography. But if you are in one of those situations where it is bright and you don't necessarily need that, can this work? Here again, I'll push the AD200 to its limit, okay? And with that VND, like I said, it was the brightest time of the day in New York. The sun was absolutely beaming, and guess what? I was able to get fully lit images with a 200. Okay, if I didn't have that VND, it would not be possible, because the high-speed sync would kill the power, and then I wouldn't have enough to illuminate my subject. Now, along with that, the tip that I like to use with this Godox AD200 is you have a Fresnel head and you have a bare bulb. 1000% out of 100, I am always going to use this bare bulb, simply because the spread of light is more even, okay? Now, the last one that I want to talk about is, I haven't had it as long as the other ones, but it does have wear and tear, okay? But this is a great speed light that I like to use for several different things, okay? And this is the Godox V1. Now, when it comes to events, if I'm doing weddings, things like this, absolutely I'm going to have this. When it comes to off-camera flash, T-Mid, would you use this? I would definitely use this, okay? I use it on camera, but I use it off camera. And when do I use it off camera? I use it off camera when you start to get into the sunset, and then you go to the blue hour and it starts to get dark. And why do I do that? The reason why I do that with this is because it's such a low power flash relative to the 200 and the 300. And what does that mean for me? That means that I can push this flash, okay, and push my camera. Now, me, I like to shoot with a nice background that can be seen for the most part. I don't go too dramatic. And so initially what that means for my settings is that my ISO is going to be my driver, okay? So my ISO is going to predict and predetermine everything else. So when I immediately look at a scene while I'm using the Godox V1 outside, the first thing I'm going to set my ambient with is my ISO. And I'm going to look at my background and I'm going to push it to the point where it is nicely illuminated, because I don't like it too dark, okay? And that's just my personal preference. So what happens at that point? At that point, I can adjust everything accordingly, but also I can add my flash. And since it is a lower power flash, when I put it on the lowest setting, and let's say I have the ISO cranked up to 1000, it won't have as much impact, or the sensor won't be as sensitive to the Godox V1 that's about 75-80 watts, versus if I push it to 1000 ISO and then I'm shooting with a 300. So I have more range with this because it's a lower power light, and that's why I like using lower power lights at night, okay? I can balance my environment and get that nicely exposed shot that I want without going too dramatic. And so that's one of the main reasons I like using this. Okay, great light to have. So those are some tips that I have for you regarding off-camera flash. There's many more things to learn, many more things to see. So hopefully we see you at the photo walk in Miami, December 7th. T to the M to the IDD. Let me know some tips that you like with off-camera flash in the comments below. Peace.